Good day and welcome to HTMI Hospitality TV. Today we are speaking with Mr. and Mrs. Jan and Regula Brucker, the hotel directors of the Widder Hotel in Zurich, a member of the leading hotels of the world. Mr. and Mrs. Brucker, thank you very much for inviting us into your beautiful hotel.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
I'd like to start off by asking you if you can tell us a bit about your career path up until reaching the position as a couple managing such a beautiful leading hotel of the world.
You start?
Well, I passed hotel management school in Lausanne. I did the course of 2 years. When I graduated, I decided I wanted to make my experiences in the international hotel business, hotel industry, and I left for New York. Shortly before we got to know each other, and when I got back, we already took over the first management of a hotel, which was on Lake Thun. And since then, that was in '86, since then we have always run hotels together.
And yourself, Mr. Brucker?
Yes, I'm also a graduate of École Hôtelière de Lausanne. That was back in 1980, so quite some years ago. I then had a couple of years experience in Asia. I was in the early 80s. I was working for Peninsula Hotels in Hong Kong. Was then transferred to Beijing for the opening of the first Western managed hotel in Beijing for Peninsula Hotels. That was the Jianghu Hotel. We opened in 1982, and we had a 1-year contract for Beijing, and then I got transferred back to Hong Kong to the flagship Peninsula Hotel in Hong Kong, where I was in charge for front office department. And from there, then I got the offer from Victoria Jungfrau Hotel in Interlaken to take over the position of a human resources manager, and which I did. And that was also the time I got to know my wife. I always say I employed her for life. So that's where we got to know each other. She made training with us, and then actually you came as whilst waiting for your permit for United States. You helped out and at the bar and restaurant in the Victoria Jungfrau. And then she left for New York, as she said. And 1 year later, basically, I got the offer for taking over the management of the Hotel Beatus on Lake Thun in Merlingen. That was our first management experience. Regula joined me then. We were not married yet at that time, but she came as an executive housekeeper and assisted me in managing the hotel. From there, we moved to Zermatt. That means we were in between the two contracts, and we were in between also in charge for the first children's hotel in Switzerland. That was the Hotel Mucetta in Davos, which was a quite exciting experience. It was the opening of a first hotel of its kind. And then, as I said, we moved to Zermatt, where we were in charge for the Hotel Schweizerhof, which was run under the Seiler flag, Seiler family. And that was a great time. We spent 10 years in Zermatt. We were very successful. We also took over the management of the Swiss Rock cafe in center of town as well. That was the last 5 years, about 4 years when we were in Zermatt. And somehow, after 10 years, you think, well, maybe it's time to move on. Otherwise, you get stuck somehow. And meanwhile, we had 3 children, and thought we have to offer them maybe a bit more of opportunities for their education, etc. And somehow we always felt maybe one day to go back to run a city hotel. That was not quite the case then, but we got the offer to run the Grand Hotel Park in Gstaad, which we did. And then we came into a change of ownership in that hotel. So we left then again after 2 years almost. And then I took over the management of the Swiss Hotel in Berlin. I was in charge for the opening. Quite a challenge. But a great experience, which I wouldn't like to miss. Family stayed back home. After the experience in Gstaad was, for the family, not ideal, because, as I said, it was a change of ownership, so it was not really what we really, leaving a hotel after 2 years was not really our intention. Then my wife said, okay, let's let the children finish school, the year in Gstaad. You go and have a look if you like it in Berlin. And so I commuted more or less on a weekly basis between Berlin and Gstaad. And when the opening of the hotel approached, I didn't have any longer time to come home, so the family came to visit me, and then slowly they got familiarized with the idea of moving also to Berlin. So we found school, we found a house, and as it sometimes happened in life, it was 5 to 12, as we say, when the phone call came from Zurich, if we wouldn't like to take over the management of the Widder Hotel. And that was after the opening then.
You did the opening.
I did the opening, yes. But we then refrained from moving the family to Berlin, right? So
you've been here now over 10 years.
We've been here now for 13 years, yes. So, and we don't regret that we took that decision. It's a great place. We feel privileged to run the Widder Hotel and have great relationships with our owners. They leave us in freedom to run the place, and that's I think that's a privilege. Yeah.
I read an interview that you gave a couple of years ago with Hotelier magazine, and you said that you consider yourself very privileged to have so much freedom to run this particular property. You said that's very unique and very special.
Right.
Could you explain that more?
I think a management, you may be successful as a manager if you have your freedom and liberty of running the place, and that again depends on confidence between owners and managers, and that's what is the case here. So our owners consider ourselves as professionals. They trust us, and all they want is, of course, we have our commercial responsibilities also towards the owners, but on the other hand, they want to have the hotel kept on top standard levels, and so they hand over the product for us to run it, and that's a great feeling, and I think that is a privilege. If you know other hotelier colleagues, and as we have experienced it ourselves with owners, it's not always the case, right? So,
So we respect and we accept that it is a big honor they give us, that the responsibility to take well care of the Widder.
So the two of you, you've managed many fine hotels in Switzerland as a couple together. How would you say you complement each other as a management team?
We always, each of us always had his responsibilities, and he didn't interfere into my responsibilities, I didn't interfere into his responsibilities, but after all, you can't have two managers taking the final decisions. So overall, the responsibility has to be to one person, which in our case is my husband.
How would you describe the Widder Hotel as an icon of hospitality within Zurich?
Yeah, I would say that's the case. It's a unique place. I mean, the Widder Hotel is not just a hotel as many other hotels are. I mean, it's you can't put us just in a kind of standard. We consider ourselves as a niche product, and kind of run like a private residence in center town. Starts with the building itself. It's a historic building. It's made out of 9 townhouses from different centuries, and they have been combined together in one hotel. As you know, opened in 1995, and I just came from a short reunion also upstairs, where we have our architect who gives once a year a speech to our staff members, just to make them sensibilize to the Widder Hotel, what it is, what is its history, and I think it's very unique. And there is not, we have 49 rooms. There is not one room like the other, so you just can't put the rooms into certain standards.
Are there specific challenges to managing a leading hotel of the world, as maybe opposed to a normal 5-star hotel or a 5-star luxury hotel?
It starts with the standards which we have with leadings. I mean, there are over 800 different standards we have to fulfill, and where we are being tested on by having anonymous visitors. The
standards do not only refer to service standards, but also interior.
So things that the rooms require,
exactly.
The hangers in the cupboards.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, on more and more, they strengthen also on the behavior of the staff, on how they communicate with the guests, that the guests are being called by their names, etc., etc. So the standards really go into details. Whereas we always say each hotel has to keep also its individuality, and we are also a member of Swiss Deluxe Hotels, and we more or less keep the same standards. We refer to the standards of leading hotels of the world. Whereas we always say in Switzerland, our hotels are so much individual, and we still try to keep this individuality. I mean, the standard is the 850 standards set by leading hotels of the world are kind of base, and we build on those standards. But then still, it's important that each hotel has its own character and keeps its own character.
It was very interesting, as Brucker, that you mentioned it's not just the service, but it's also the things within the building. But I'd just like to focus on the service. Of course, 5-star hotels all provide or should be providing outstanding service. But would you say that within leading hotels of the world, that service has to be many, many standards higher? Or what is it about the service you need to really provide, you know, in order to be a leading hotel of the world?
There are a lot of, the standards consist of a lot of detail work that the guest actually, he appreciates, and I think he remarks the difference between 5-star or 5-star leading hotel.
That's a great advantage this system has with LQA, leading quality assurance, that they provide you with a resume, the comments on the tests, on the different tests they make, and then at the end you have an instrument which is the basic for the trainings, and they also offer the trainings actually. If you don't have the resources to make it yourself, they offer you the trainings as well. But we are at the Widder Hotel, we are organized that way, that we have our department heads. They are much sensibilized on the standards, and they have really to train their staff on these standards. Yeah.
You're one of only 3 leading hotels in the world within Zurich. How do you differentiate yourself from the other 2 leading hotels?
You see, I think we have great hotels in Zurich, and especially our immediate competitors, the other luxury hotels. By the way, they are the Borough Lac, the Dolder Grand, the Savoy and the Park Hyatt. I think that makes it also possible that we have this great relationship amongst each other, because we really differentiate each other from each other. That means all the hotels are basically different. I mean, you have the city resort like the Dolder Grand, which is a bit outside of center town. Then you have the Borough Lac, which is the grand old lady amongst the hotels in Zurich. The Savoy, which is another great hotel, or the modern Park Hyatt, which has really been an asset to the hotel industry in Zurich. And then us, as the small boutique hotel, a historic building, I think we really complement each other. And some of them are also members of leading hotels of the world, are members of Swiss Deluxe Hotels, and that makes it also possible to have a very good exchange amongst each other, and we help each other when it comes to overbooking whatsoever.
I mean, that's a very interesting outlook, you know, saying there is a need, but however, still maintaining your own uniqueness, you know, between all the other leading hotels, because I'm sure it's not always so easy, especially in a very competitive environment, you know.
Yeah. You see, if you compare Widder Hotel with the Park Hyatt, which is a great hotel, I mean, I think either you like that formula or you like the others. I mean, being a guest at the Widder Hotel, you have maybe to. The guests are mostly taken by surprise, because they don't just choose a room, because they are aware. The regular guests, at least, are aware that the 49 rooms, they're all different. And whereas if you choose a Park Hyatt, you know very well what you're going to experience. It's more or less standardized all around the world on a top level, I must say. But it's you know what you expect for the money you spend. So whereas here,
it's unique, but it's you know, it's still small, 49 rooms, but very personalized service.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a lot of benefits to being a member of leading hotels of the world?
Oh, absolutely. You know, again, comparing to Park Hyatt, we are an individual hotel. So it's very much important nowadays, especially in that globalized world. It's you need to be somehow attached to associated with a marketing organization such as leading hotels of the world, which is a great brand. It's an international brand. It's well known all over the world for its high standard, and they are great marketing partners. Then they give a lot of opportunities, great platforms for marketing activities. They are our most important reservation channel, I must say, and so we have a great partnership with leading hotels. You know, if, as I said, if you're an individual hotel, you're not incorporated in an international chain or organization, then this is certainly a very, very strong and important alternative.
What is the other personal touches, whether it's from the flowers, that's very unique to the Widder Hotel, but also within leading hotels of the world?
Yeah. Since as you said, our 49 rooms are all different, so we have they have all a different decoration. They all have we have a lot of classic designs. So we try to charm the rooms, the optic of the rooms, with small details, so that like fur plates or decorations that reflect the Widder in whatever kind of way. And on the other side, of course, we have a lot of regular guests, and we are very much paying attention to, as I said, to find out their habits, their preferences. Is it in the room? Is it in the restaurant at breakfast? So that when they come back, that we can pamper them the way they like it, the way we observed they liked it.
What percentage of your business here would you say is repeat customers?
It's
about 60%. Yeah.
That's very high.
60%. We are, let's say we are about 80% business hotel and 20% cater to individual guests. That again concentrates mostly on the weekends or during the holiday periods. Otherwise, we are mostly a business hotel, and and they're mostly regulars.
We have guests who come back every week, and some of those guests request to have a different room every time they come back, so that after 49 visits they have made the tour. And some others, they say, no, I enjoy very much this room, I come here, I know everything, I get, that I'm coming, I feel home from the first minute, and that's what I prefer.
Do you think the leaders of tomorrow will need to sort of change their thinking?
Yeah, I think that's also a constant. It's also always a constant movement as well. I think maybe changing less whatever are the hard factors, but I would say you need to change and to develop in the soft factors, in the way of leadership, how you cooperate with your staff, how you communicate with the staff.
I think that's wonderful. Mr. and Mrs. Brucker, it's been truly fascinating speaking with both of you.
Thank you.
And hearing your insights into managing a leading hotel of the world. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It was our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.